Okay guys, this is Aaron coming at you with a video about taking your position as the leader. So this is a huge deal, and I need to make sure that I drill this down. You have to understand how important it is in your company. So when you understand how big of a deal it is, you're going to see how much this affects where your company goes. So if you can imagine, your rightful position is here, right? This is the position of the leader. The leader needs to be here. But when the rest of our staff are here, and we hang out with them, we talk to them, we goof off with them, at this level, instead of being where we're supposed to be, what ends up happening is we displace ourselves. So we're supposed to be here all the time, not here. But whenever we take our spot from here to here, what do we end up doing? We take ourselves back to their level. So let me walk you through some things that take you back to their level. Going and drinking with your crew. I don't drink personally at all. But if I did drink, I would never drink in front of my crew. There's too much of a chance of me just laughing, having a good time, and just saying one little thing that makes someone lower their respect for me and not listen to me. And the moment I do that and I shift myself down to their level, they won't follow. Now, I'm not saying I'm above them. I don't want you to think you're better than them. That's not what it's about. When I say about their level, I mean there are levels to who you associate with for certain things. So these guys would talk professionally together. They might also talk about their personal issues. You can give one of these guys advice about their personal issue, but you can never go to them for advice. Think about that for a second. You've got to take the rightful position, and this is why people talk about it being so lonely here. There's some rules you can't break. So I'll talk about a few of them. You're not going to drink with your crew. Okay? You're also not going to ever tell them your problems. Now, I'm not saying if your company's in trouble and you're trying to turn your company around, you need the whole team's support, you tell them that. But you don't get into the nitty-gritty details asking them for advice. You never do that. You always go to a mentor, another leader, somebody else that's on your level. You would never go to someone that's on this level. And again, I'm not talking about somebody being worth more than another person. I'm talking about the responsibility level. This breaks the chain of command if you get this backwards. Okay? So I'm never going to drink in front of them. I'm not going to tell them my problems. I'm just not going to do it. Problems don't go downhill. They only go uphill, right? So you're not going to do that. Now, another thing I'm going to think about as I move forward, I'm going to make sure that I'm always decisive. So what does that mean? I'm not, so I'll put don't change, let me put a C here. Don't change mind. You can't change your mind over and over and over. People can't get behind that. You need momentum for people to get behind. Here's the other thing. These are some don'ts. One of the things you have to do, the main rule, the first rule of leadership is show up. You've got to be reliable. You've got to be that guy that's there, that's always delivering, that gets up and walks in and says, this is the deal, over and over and over. It's just so, it's paramount. You got to. And if you take your position, this means when you walk into a room and the group's hanging out in a certain place in your building, you would walk into the room and you would go, okay guys, and you would take charge of the conversation. You'd have your little meeting, and it could be no piece of paper in your hand that you're reading off of it. It could just be, we need to get back to work. It could be, we're going to go do this, we're going to go do that. It could be a project you want to do. It could be anything you want to do, but you would point everybody into a direction and point them into a direction that brings focus to that problem you're trying to solve. Remember, this group here can solve large problems. That's the reason we have employees, because they can do more together than we can do by ourselves, right? So you would take that group and you would focus them. So if we're going to bring focus with them down to one item, once we focus on that one item, we focus on that one subject, that one thing, that thing that we have to tackle, that gets resolved. Whether it's an angry customer, whether it's a car we got to get out of the shop, whether it's a problem we've got, if we owned a restaurant, it doesn't matter what it is, we would focus it on that one issue, all of their energy on that one thing, and it would get resolved. Why do most companies not get past a situation and get on to the next one? I want you to know it's because of focus. So if you think about it, if your business is climbing, and it's like a set of stairs, right, as it grows. As it grows and gets to each step, at each step there is an issue. And at each step this issue needs to be resolved. The sooner you have a crew that understands that and can climb those steps, the sooner you're going to get breakthrough. But what's going to happen is you will not ever be able to go to here, or to here, or to here, or to here if you don't have a crew that's focusing on the problem. And how do you get that breakthrough? You get everybody to focus on this. If you get one guy focusing on this, one guy on this, one guy on this, one guy on this, you don't break through. It's your job as a leader to come in and bring focus to a point, right? When you bring it to a point, you break through the ice. You break through that glass ceiling. You break through the next level. But what happens when you do this is you have to bring vision. So when you show up with vision, people will get behind it. You know, the Bible talks about this and says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Some translations say vision. Some people believe it should be just vision written in there. But I want you to understand that if you don't have a vision, you don't have a direction, right? The vision's the map. Think about it. And then the leader is the compass. He's pointing the way to get to the place on the map that he sees is where they belong. You've got to be able to do this over and over and over so you can break through each level in your business and get to the next level. But if there's no one there that can take the entire group and focus them on the one pain point at this level, then the one pain point at that level, then the one pain point at that level, and that level, they'll never break through. They'll hit a pain point, and because only one guy's trying to tackle it, and this guy's over here goofing off, this guy's goofing off, this guy's doing something else, one guy's trying to tackle that pain point, and you might be the one guy, you never get through. You've got to get through to the next level. And the only way that happens is if you take this position of leadership and you declare yourself the leader. Not another buddy, the leader. Remember, this is the big thing. Never go ask them. I should add this to the list. Never go ask them for the vision. Put here, never ask for vision. It is your job to dream it up. They get behind your vision. You don't get behind theirs. They get behind yours. They work your vision. A leader is supposed to serve. A leader came to serve and show up and do what he had to do to make it so everybody else could have success. But guess what? It has to go in line with his vision. Her vision has to be the way to do it. No one else's. So if you walk up, you're standing here, and you get an idea in your head, and this idea, you know, it's got all these different things to it, and you're thinking about it, you have to take that idea that's in your head and you have to explain it to your team, right? You have to cast that vision. You have to communicate it to them. They're not going to dream it up and just get it. And here's the other big thing. This is something else you got to do. You got to freaking over-communicate. One of the biggest reasons I can communicate so with large groups is I will say something to them, make them repeat it back to me. I'll be very entertaining, very engaging, get them all included in it. And when I do that, they get my vision. If you can get them to get your vision, and you're going to show up every day and you're reliable, and then they start to believe your vision because you're always showing up because that shows you believe it, that's the one thing. People will cast a vision and then they won't show up to work. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Well, work half days. Okay, fine. Work a half day. But you better go tell your team you're gone doing some responsibility and you're going to be there at the same time every day and they know it. If you just come and go as you please as a leader, it doesn't work. If you got a business that only requires 3 hours of your day, it better be the same 3 hours every day so they can depend on it. Well, I want to catch them in the act if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Then that needs to be an extra visit on top of that. They have to be able to depend on you because that proves that you believe in the vision that you told them about. And if they see that you believe in the vision that you told them about, then they will get behind you. And then if you were able to communicate that by over-communicating, make sure you got every single person to believe in your vision, then what happens is you start to get success. But so many people will go and have a beer with their guys, goof off. They'll ask, what do y'all think the vision should be? Oh, now does that look like a strong leader? You ever seen a leader get up and speak when he's speaking? He's like, what do y'all think about that? How's everybody feeling? Everybody okay? Everybody okay? You don't ask if they're okay. You just know they're freaking okay. You got to stand up and take charge. You got to tell them not to come to you and then ask you to tell them your problems. I meet owners all the time that tell me, well, they just like to talk to me, and I just find myself just telling them all my problems. You can't do that. You go to mentors, leaders, coaches for that stuff. You can't be wavering all the time. You can't be changing your mind. You got to stick to it. You got to go, you know what? It's that freaking way. And everybody's going to get behind you, and they're going to follow you to that. You got to see how this is perceived. A lot of us don't stop and ever look at ourselves. You know, I had a great quote, and I'll end it with this. A friend of mine told me once, Aaron, always ask yourself, how will this be retold? And if you think about it, anytime you do something, if you thought about how it's retold, it's always either exaggerated or it's de-exaggerated. Is that a word? I don't know. But it's never this, if this is the accurate. It's always told up here or it's told down here. Think about that for yourself. Think about it. When you go to communicate, are you over-communicating so it's accurate? Are you the kind of guy that sticks with it? Doesn't change your mind? You kind of guy that doesn't tell your team your problems? You let them come to you instead? You don't drink in front of them? I'll go even further. You have to be careful with your mouth in front of your team. If you've got a bad mouth and you just cuss all the time, you have to go and pull that back and restrain it. It doesn't bring more respect to cuss with every other word. You have to understand that if you're going to cuss, it's got to be limited, and it's got to be something that you're showing discipline on, because people respect and like people with discipline. Why do we follow athletes? Why do we follow actors? Why do we follow these people that do things we can't do? Because they have more discipline. That's how you get followers, guys. This group right here that wants to follow this guy, they also want to pull this guy down. So ladies, if this is you, a lot of the girls struggle with this. They don't want to step up and get guys to follow them. You got to do it. If this is you, you got to take this position and you got to stand there. And they're going to try to pull you back down, get you to tell them your problems, get you to go drinking with them, get you to have fun and goof off and party. And it doesn't have to be just those items. Get you to gossip about other team members. You can't ever do that. Every standard you have for your team, your standard's above it. If they got to talk a certain way, it's got to be above. If they got to dress a certain way, it's got to be above. If they got to do this, it's got to be above. Everything you do, you have to hold a higher standard. Everything. All right, guys. I hope you understand how you take your position. I'll see you in the next video.